Hello, this is Cynthia Sue Larson with RealityShifters.com, and today I'd like to talk with you about just envisioning how to thrive in this new world of the novel coronavirus that has been going global this year in 2020. And the situation right now is pretty epic in the sense that there are changes to daily life on every single continent, every single nation on the planet. At times, it's looking a lot like a war zone, and that's in terms of casualties, which hopefully are decreasing. But never before have so many humans been doing the same thing at the same time, sheltering inside and ceasing regular commutes, ceasing daily activity, being confined at home for the foreseeable future. And this is a shared intention that so many people around the world now have to slow, stop, and reverse the death toll from the coronavirus. Now, humanity has survived pandemics before. It does seem like they come about every 100 years. The last one, about 100 years ago, was what we called the Spanish flu. It wasn't really Spanish, but anyway, you know how that can happen with the names of these things. But that pandemic, humanity was able to deal with a variety of different approaches, washing hands, a little bit of social distancing, some masks were worn. But now we've got the advantage of the internet. So this time, the scientists around the world are working together with shared resources, ingenuity, ideas, and that's been really good to see. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some good results from that. And I think that's part of what we're learning with this isolation, being together alone, as some people call it, the ability to collaborate, even if not physically together. A lot of people are asking me, why is this happening? And when we look at why it's happening, I'd say this year feels to me, this year 2020, like it's a very interesting year of communication between humanity and nature, where some people say, gee, it feels like we've been sent to our rooms. Like nature said, go back and think about it. Think about what you've done. Others point out this is an opportunity for humanity to move into more harmonious balance with nature and moving into more receptive yin, feminine ways of being and out of the dynamic yang, masculine approach. And as I've mentioned previously, I like to think of it in terms of the physics. And when I look at the physicists such as John Archibald Wheeler, who famously proposed that we can look at the way we ask a question to nature and nature answers. When you look at that, then you recognize that if we're asking a question, what was it? Such that the answer might have been the coronavirus. That's a good one. And then I go to the definition of revelation from Merriam-Webster, which it says it's an act of communicating divine truth. So perhaps there's a revelation, there's a divine truth in this coronavirus, that we can experience solidarity and community across great distances in time. Even though we're slowing things way down, we're getting an opportunity to appreciate everyone and everything we truly love during this collective time out. And perhaps most importantly, we're being given a time to experience the possibility of a great awakening right now on Earth, which gets to how we can thrive during this global pandemic. We cannot bend nature to our demands necessarily. Remember, it's give and take, it's listening, it's conversation, communication, respect, and trust. So, the single most important thing we can do as human beings is to view these unfolding events, whatever they may be for us, through the eyes of love, not fear. We have the ability to recognize when and what and how we're paying attention, what we're choosing to listen to and look at, and that we can and do have the ability through that observation to literally change the world. Those of us who have faith can share that awareness that there exists something bigger than each of us, and that by finding ways to best serve others, we can feel the greatest sense of joy imaginable. Some people wonder, what's the best thing to do during the storm of contagion that's just going around like a storm through our communities? And my answer would be to focus attention on what you most appreciate and are grateful for. Sometimes when things are difficult, it's hard to do that. If that's happening, then please find some way to help in the world. Help someone, help something. And that can help pull you up by the proverbial bootstraps. Remember that the world looks very different to caterpillars than to butterflies. And what do I mean by that? It would be back to that fearfulness approach. If you're looking at the world through the eyes of love, then you're looking at ways you can be of service. If you're looking with fear, then you tend to be more concerned about the physical egoic issues that might limit your bandwidth and your sort of spectrum of seeing. So mastering our minds is absolutely pivotal right now. We need to benefit from all the meditation that we've done, all the prayer, and recognize, if you are Mandela effect affected, that there are such things as multiple timelines. So just like that parable you've heard about, which wolf do you feed? You want to choose which timelines you support. Pick the one that feels right to you if you are experiencing many of them. This is a time of being presented with a unique opportunity to listen really deeply to our authentic selves. That would include aligning everything between your head, your heart, your gut, so that you are all of one piece, and you can therefore experience that anything you think about will tend to manifest from that beautiful alignment and being in the flow and in conjunction and in harmony with nature. And so when you think about the dreaming consciousness that I write about in my books, and recognize that fearfulness is often equated with being on the drama triangle, the Karpman triangle, the victim triangle, whatever you want to call it, that's a limitation where you can hear it when people start saying that they can prove that wrongdoing has occurred and that they've been unfairly injured by unfolding events. And that they'll talk about clear and real and present danger, potential threats, and so forth, things happening beyond control, and that you must fight for control at all costs. If you hear that kind of thoughts in your head or around you in the world, that is how you can recognize what I would call sort of a material mindset, typical regular dreaming consciousness, where you're just observing. You're just an observer watching a movie. You're a victim. In contrast, what I recommend instead, if you're capable of doing it, and I know if you're watching this video you can access lucid dreaming consciousness. This is creator consciousness. This is the kind of beliefs aligned with knowing that you're intrinsically connected to others in ways that they can't be measured necessarily, but they're the very basis for meaning and value and purpose in life. You know that you can cross the threshold from egoic fearfulness into your greater identity when acknowledging that I am not my thoughts and feelings. I'm not, because I can observe them. So if I'm able to observe them, then I've got the ability to focus and pay attention to the thoughts and feelings that best serve me and the world in this moment. And therefore I can choose in every experience how I respond. And if the only thing you do is just ask my favorite question, you're on the right path. And so I'll bring this to a close today, wishing you and your loved ones all the very best health and well-being, and to keep asking, how good can it get? Until next time, this is Cynthia Sue Larson with RealityShifters.com.